Aloha! Aloha from not so sunny Kauai, you know? Here on Kauai, it's one of those little blustery days, you know? Sometimes you'll see the sun and sometimes not, but it's still beautiful Kauai. And everything is green out there, and the gardener is just watering it right now. That's what's happening, he's watering it. We're a little bit tired of the watering, don't get me wrong, but we know it needs to be watered. So I'm here, oops, I forgot something. There's no one here to lay me, and so I must lay myself in honor of me, in honor of all of you. Okay. So, you know, a lot of us are celebrating Kay this week. Kay's birthday, and you know, her arrival and departure weren't that far apart. But you know, one of the reasons I'm here is because Kay gave us all some wonderful tools to use to work on this spaceship we call the human body. And the emotional freedom technique is one of them. And so, you know, it works. Kay brought it back from Dr. Callahan when it was in its infancy. And that work has not done anything but grow until it's phenomenal. And the Ortners are just incredible putting it out. And we have our own Stacy Hornborough. She did the course on management, and she worked with Kay. I think they worked together and were friends for quite some time. But my experience, let's get back to my experience. You know, well, actually it was November of last year. I was at a senior, senior health fair, and we were playing ukulele on the program. Well, it was early in the morning, early for me at any rate. It was about 9:30, and I had my coffee, but I hadn't had anything to eat yet. And so I'm wandering around looking for something to eat, and I see these ladies over there, and they have all these cookies out on the table. And I like walk over and I say, oh, you know, like, how can I get some of those cookies? And they said, you have to take a blood test, you know. And I'm like, you mean you gotta stick a needle in me so I can eat? Well, we'll get back to the needles and the sticking a little bit later. But they said, yeah, and so they actually talked me into it, and I had a blood test. And then the results of that blood test came back. My blood sugar was running very close to 400. And that was on after an overnight fast. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you know, she says, what we can do about this. She gave me my options, you know, pills, shots, whatever. And I said, no, you know, I said, I'm going to get this under control by diet, and I don't want to be shot, you know. And so it's been about 3 months then, and I've been working on that. Now you know, I haven't taken the tapping that much into it. The tapping I do whenever emotion comes up, whenever I can find something to tap on. I use it as a tool in my daily life. But then came the Tapping Conference 2011, the ETF Freedom Conference. And, you know, I have been struggling with my dieting. I was trying to change the way I eat, but I've always been a seafood guy. You know, seafood and I eat it, you know. And changing that was being very difficult for me. I got my blood level down to about 150 or so when I was struggling. I couldn't seem to get it any lower than that. So the ETF conference, it's EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique Conference came up. And I made a commitment that I would go through that conference since they were offering it for free anyhow, you know. And it seems to be my really slow time of month. Don't have much business, so I got a lot of time to do art. And I'm starting to do a lot of videotaping right now, which is what this is all about. But at any rate, I was really struggling there, and I was really, you know, like beginning to doubt of whether I could do that. And the indignity of sticking myself in my fingers twice a day was just beyond reproach, you know. And so I can really empathize with those people who, you know, have to do it with insulin. My brother's one of them, you know. And perhaps it's one of the first times in my life that I can really empathize with him. Because I've never been sick before. I've never had a life-threatening illness. I've never had a life-threatening anything. Oh well, enough about my bland life. At any rate, the EFT conference took me into tapping for 2 hours a day. Now there were some of the tappers that, you know, I didn't like their delivery. Stacy Hornbrook, though, as I said, she worked with Kay before. I listened to her, and she was incredible. Stacy works with athletes, and so she gets into the body on such an nth degree that it's incredible. And so about the third day of that, and that was really probably last Wednesday or Thursday. And you know, at the same time, when I go for walks, I'm listening to Deepak Chopra, you know, and I forget that one of his miracles books where he gives all the sutras and stuff. And a lot of you know, because I put up videos of me walking out of Lidgate, that I walk out of Lidgate all the time. And so I actually set up a routine where when I would have a foot strike and feel that vibration through my body, I would immediately go to, I deeply love and appreciate myself. I deeply love and appreciate myself. I deeply love and appreciate myself. And I did a hook in so that my feet I would have that rhythm in my head every time my feet hit the ground. I deeply love and appreciate myself. I deeply love and appreciate myself. And that's kind of like playing the ukulele, you know, if you practice it, then after a while it just goes off, and when your feet hit the ground and you're vibrating up, you already know those points that you have connected it into by doing the tapping while you were doing that. So you know that you have a mind-brain connection. And so, but I did the tapping, and then, so I was walking down a Lidgate listening to Deepak Chopra, and I got in the car and I went up to the overlook up by the Queen's Bell, looking down over the Waialua River. I'm sitting there in my car and just thinking, looking at the river, and something came up about my sugar diabetes. And of course, I've been tapping 2 hours a day, you know. And my tapping is just, I'm the tapping king, boy, I can tap. And if I ain't tap, I hook it up to something else, you know, so that my tapping is going off. So I was up there, and I had a thought about Kay. That I had some anger about that. And as far as I was concerned, she wasn't supposed to leave yet, you know. But as I sat up there and I began to tapping, just thinking of Stacy and her incredible routine that I couldn't even hope to follow. And I tapped and I tapped. And you know, I began to have this incredible release over my body. And I'm having a release right now. Either I'm being touched by the gods, either way. But, you know, it felt like, you know, if you take that nicing and you get that rush, that blood rush, it was like that, except it was amplified and it was so smooth. And it was almost like I could see the emotions leaving my body. Well, you know, I told you I'd been stuck with this 150 for the last month and a half. And I had begun to desire about being able to really conquer this sugar diabetes condition. The next morning, my blood sugar level was 95. And I'm going to tell you that's hugely significant. Normal is, they say, 110 to 140, and here I was over at 150, you know, all the time, and going up from there. And so immediately I sent an amazement, and I said, you know, the damn blood meter it must be wrong, you know. And so, was I willing to stick my finger again and find out? Well, I was. Okay. No, the blood meter, it wasn't wrong. At least it was twice in the same row. And I said, oh my God, I've never got my blood sugar down that low. I immediately went to tapping. I deeply love and appreciate myself. I deeply love and appreciate myself. I deeply love and appreciate myself. Blood sugar level 105. Blood sugar level 95. Blood sugar level 95. And the reason I wanted to do that is because if I could anchor in what my blood sugar level was, then I had a basis for muscle testing again, which I wasn't able to do because my body was used to something that was abnormal. And so for like 3 days, 4 days, the 5th days, I kept getting these low blood sugar readings. Now, a blood sugar reading of 95 for me means I'm sleepy and don't want to get up, you know. But I understand that my body's not used to being at that blood sugar level. And so I'm almost vegan, but not quite. I really do like meat a lot, okay? But here I was, so I'm taking up a little bit of time here telling this story. You know, and so it took me a couple of days to recognize my own miracle and to begin implementing once again and cementing in new realities in my life. And all of a sudden I'm not having those before bed cravings. And I really put it to my intense time with ETF, my intense want not to be sick, to be healthy. This is what I wanted to share with you guys. You know? And thanks to Kay for the inspiration that she was in my life. Thanks to my children and my grandchildren who love me dearly and I love them also. Thanks to you guys, the 80% of the people in my life that came through me and through Kay, through some connection with my lovely, lovely, lovely love. And so this is Aloha from the Garden Island. And we'll see how this turns out, you know. I need to do some sharing. Actually, I need to be writing and sharing, but you know, this writing deal is so much easier. I got so many cameras around. I'm so blessed that I have a profession like this. Hot dog, yes!